All right, do it.
Look at us. We are welcome Facebook Live. We are in the middle of the North Shore, legit, at Mike's Beer. I mean, listen, over 500 beers. Apparently, Mike's Beer Bar has been open like in the last couple months. People are still coming because they're starting to see signs of life. So we're super happy about that. It's a beautiful day to be outside, and this is where our podcast is. We literally have the most star-studded group of people who we get to interview today. I almost wish we could kind of like showcase each of them in different ones, but we're not. We're having them all here. So here's how it goes. On this part, you actually will see all the stuff going on. You'll see people coming back and forth. You'll hear some of the, outtakes essentially, mistakes, how we kind of, weave in and out of each guest, that kind of thing. And then if you're watching, cool, but then you want to listen to the edited version on the Audacy app. On Monday, it comes out on KDKA around 1 o'clock. And then on Tuesday at YaJagoff.com. So that's basically how it works. Did I do okay?
You did really well. And I was playing bartender here, pouring the white wine of the Monongahela River.
Oh.
Right.
Wow. That sounds delish.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, we just get started.
I feel like you all know the routine at this point. Blah, blah, blah. We read our ad. We talk about what was on the blog. And then we get to talk to all these interesting people. So,
all right.
I'm ready.
So, we're ready. All right. So, the Jagoffs brought an all-star bullpen of guests. Mike Sukic.
John, that's the summary.
Right.
Take two.
There is no better time than now to trade your car. That trade-in is good for amazing new vehicles as well as certified and used cars. And no matter the car deal, expect the Rorik advantage.
The other advantage at Rorik is the parking lot of fun shows that showcases comedians and entertainers at Ginchy Stuff and Bicycle Heaven in the parking lot. Check YaJagoff.com for details. And as always, visit Rorik.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now we start the YaJagoff podcast. Where, John?
Mike's Beer Bar. That's a meme,
dude,
right?
We
it's
both
Mike's Beer Bar. It's that easy.
We both did the same thing, though, twice. Like, we know where we are, and it's so easy. Mike's Beer Bar, and we both went like this.
Right. So this is the YaJagoff Podcast. As you're listening, if you're watching on Facebook Live, when you hear the edit, you'll hear the cute little music that we have of all the various Pittsburgh personalities that say YaJagoff. And anyways, we are at Mike's Beer Bar this week down on the North Shore, formerly known as the North Side to people who grew up around
Well, it's
here.
an extent, and I am from the North Side. It's an extension of the North Side, so we're okay with that now. In the beginning, we didn't like it. Northsiders were like, "What's this new place?"
Right, it's
but
like
now,
Dorset and Dorset.
Yeah,
right.
We're
so,
good with it.
But we are here, and we're going to have a great show coming up here. We'll tell you a little bit about that, but this is where we ask you, if you're listening to the podcast for the first time, stumbled upon us, or somehow you said Jagoff and your Alexa dialed up our podcast, this is where we ask you to subscribe and go to iTunes and leave a comment. We'd appreciate you doing that, because we're here every week, and our parents aren't quite proud yet, because they don't know how to read the Apple comments, but we're going to cut them out and put them on the refrigerator so even our kids can see them.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, this is where we talk about what was on the blog, and in case you don't know, so the podcast is all things Pittsburgh people, but the blog, that's the fun part. That's where John gets to have road rage in Pittsburgh. Basically, we point out who's being a Jagoff. It might be a headline. It might be we were driving. So, the Jagoff of the week on Star 100.7 with Alysta was the McDonald's Jagoff. And basically that's because we debate often what is worse, Route 51 or McKnight Road. This time we were saying McKnight Road. However, both of them have McDonald's on them, a couple of them, in fact. But we were on McKnight Road, and this person went from the middle lane. Was it the middle lane or the far left lane?
It was the middle lane.
All right, middle lane. Sharp right so that they could get into Mickey D's.
Stopped
literally
traffic.
John goes, Rachel, get your phone. So I did.
Listen, this is probably swear words to our guest Leslie coming up here, but I love McDonald's. Like, I cannot pass one. I'm like Pavlov's dog driving by there. And I know the passion for McDonald's. I can get it, but don't be a Jagoff and do. The picture you took was excellent.
And usually I'm not the picture taker, but funnier yet, our friend Carrie Ford, who actually represents McDonald's, she wrote on our Instagram, everybody needs their Mickey D's fix, and it was true because John literally, he's that guy. So that was the Jagoff of the week. We also talked about Earth Day in Pittsburgh and how cool that.
Right, because, Earth Day's a little different in Pittsburgh because, we know that Earth Day is turn off your lights, right?
Yep.
Save some energy. But in Pittsburgh, you would turn off all the lights in your house except for the one that shines on your Jack Lambert jersey. That's like a sin. You would not do that.
Right.
Right. So don't be a Jagoff. You know, those are the kind.
Yeah, and then we did find a story headline, thanks to Trib Live. Somebody was stealing $38,000 worth of lottery tickets. I just, from a good Catholic girl, I cannot understand the process. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it conscience-wise, but I also don't get the process in which the camera caught one time with 30. I mean, so was it all at once? Were these multiple trips? I don't know.
Did she win?
No, that was why she was Jagoff. Yeah.
That should be the lesson to all the people that play the lottery. I realize it goes to good causes like the senior citizens, but you give somebody, you give your mail person 100 lottery tickets, more than likely they're getting 50 cents for a Christmas gift.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So,
correct.
Right.
So that was that. We just had to recap that. Also, make sure you're checking out YaJagoff.com because we have a new website. And if you are a subscriber, you're actually getting a couple of stories through us through email. And we spotlighted Where You At YaJagoff this week, Wampum, PA, thanks to our friend Mary Mac. And then, food-wise, G-Chet. Sprezzatura, Jen Saffron. We talked about this prior, guys. Facebook Live. I think you heard us talking about what was on, but John forgets. Short-term memory loss. It's all good.
Yeah, Sprezzatura over in Millville. Total Pittsburgh directions. It used to be the Elks Club in Millville. Yeah. That's how you find.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be the Elks Club, and so right there, excellent food, excellent traditional food, excellent kind of even some avant-garde. Things, but anyway, she's on
good
the
vegetarian selection as well for people who
cool. All right, so let's start this week's podcast, right?
Bring on the guest. You're super stoked. Not that I'm not, but John has been saying to Tracy, "Is Leslie in the bullpen? Is Leslie in the bullpen?" For quite some time.
And like Rick Seaback is a personality everybody knows, but nobody knows, right? They just know what they see. And Leslie is one of those people. But also we have our listen. We turned in to find a favorite Post-Gazette reporter. Because Josh Axelrod, he wrote a really cool article about your dad's place, our fake St. Patrick's Day parade, which, by the way, had over 13,000 views on Facebook, probably thanks to Josh's certainly contribution to it.
John, don't blow his head up too much. I mean, we
right.
We don't have the payroll for the PG.
Outside, Rach. Yeah. And then we have Kim Chestney. So Kim Chestney I found on the Bill Flanagan show on Sunday morning. I'm sitting there eating 8 pounds of bacon, once again offending Leslie. And,
Leslie can't even come on at this point.
After playing hockey. And anyways, Kim was on there, and I was so intrigued by her story about intuition and understanding your intuition, because you and I are both very gut people. Like, we get a good gut for somebody, like, and I love the way she's telling you to track this stuff.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so she's on. And our musician.
Our musician, thanks to and brought to you by Fusion Entertainment, is Steel Mill Rising. So we're excited about that. All right, bring on Leslie.
Bring
we have
on
lots
Leslie.
of questions.
All right, Leslie, both
Leslie,
of these
come on
microphones
over.
have been wiped
You've
out.
been wiped? Yeah.
We have celebrity water here, as you saw.
And look at her mask. Okay, can we just draw attention? Only.
If you're listening to the podcast, explain it.
It says 6 feet YaJagoff. And listen, I love that she arrives and John says, Leslie, we know you. You probably don't know us. Oh, she did a little bit of homework. So she has her Jagoff mask on, and we couldn't be more proud. Leslie, we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
So it is your choice. Whoa, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And John's the Jagoff of the day. John is the Jagoff of the day. He means well, and God love him. He reached out to say hello to Leslie, and we spilled some water. Thank God it wasn't beer. That's all we have to say. It wasn't beer, so we're all good. Leslie has our pink mic, and we're all good. John?
All right, we got the pink mic. We are ready to roll.
So in all seriousness, we've been asked on any interview that we've had, how do you select your guests? And honestly, we just want Pittsburgh people who are identifying with our ever-evolving city. So we know you from Pittsburgh Today Live. We've read different things about you. I did a little bit of journalistic looking. I had no idea. I mean, U.S. News and World Report. I was like, what? This is right here in our city. This is amazing.
You know, I'm a legend in my own mind.
You are.
I've been around forever. And so, you kind of cast a broad net, and I love it. It's all about communication.
Yes.
It's all about taking the nonsense out of nutrition, because I'm over it.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't like TikTok because it ticks me off. That's what happens.
Listen,
I love it.
Start.
That's so funny. We'll start there. I mean, give us a little bit of background for someone who wouldn't know who you are. How did you start here in Pittsburgh, and where are you now?
All right, so I am from Pittsburgh, born and bred in the East End part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived here most of our life, raised our kids here.
Okay.
They don't live here anymore, but oh well, we go and visit
that's
and they
okay.
come back. So when I went to school in biopsychology. It's like, what a useless degree. It's like, what could you do with that? You could do investigational work with rats in a lab. It's like, I don't think so. So, went to graduate school in public health at Pitt and took a nutrition class, and that was it. And then kind of evolved into this working with athletes, which interestingly, my first job, I worked in Wheeling. It was okay. Came back to Pittsburgh, called the Department of Athletics, this was long before email, and said, you need somebody to work with your athletes. And they said, okay. And I said, oh, crap. Now we have to figure it out. So I worked with Pitt for like a million years.
Okay.
Then had the opportunity to start with our Steelers, and then the Pirates, and the Pens, and the Pittsburgh Ballet, and all of that. And then it just kind of took off from there. So
that's amazing.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, if that doesn't teach you a lesson, seriously, in being resourceful. So I love the fact that you had enough guts, essentially, to pitch it and then said, oh, boy, it's here. Careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, but you know what? And then there's the challenge is, all right,
absolutely,
meet the challenge or walk away. And, one of the things about working with professional athletes, and, these guys, they outweight me, they out-hype me by a lot, but I am assertive, I am aggressive, I am persistent like a gnat. I can take you down.
Girl, I can tell.
Take you down.
I'm shaking right now. Leslie.
I love, and so now that's interesting in that, that's your experience working with all these high-end athletes who are motivated in general. I mean, the money they make, or just they're used to being the best and the tops. Then you have to go around to some casual person like me who wants to work out or wants to lose their belly or whatever and stop eating McDonald's. And but I can't.
You said it, not me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So how do you those people are motivated.
Yeah.
How do you motivate someone? On an average person through the books that you've written and things like that.
But you also, and I don't mean, but to dovetail on that, you also offer that service, right? So even though you're known for what you've done in the athlete world, you do work one-on-one with people.
Well, I would say my work with athletes, that's the surreal.
Sure.
And my work with other people is the real. And that's my bread and butter. What I do every day is working with people who are interested in optimizing their health, or maybe they have some underlying concern that they're worried about, and their performance as well. I mean, we're not all going to be paid $1 million to be physically active.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be our best. And again, all the nonsense that is out there right now just proliferating about what you shouldn't eat, and this is bad, and you got to be gluten-free and dairy-free and basically food-free, and then you're eating air, so what is the point?
Honestly, so true.
But motivation is positivity. So nutrition should nurture and not torture the body. And actually, there's a lot of stuff out there that would say otherwise. Don't. Who's motivated by that? That would be no one.
Yeah,
no one.
Wow, that's such a good point.
So, like, I try to say, well, I'm going to have 2 beers, but I'm going to go run tomorrow or walk tomorrow or whatever. Is that?
But isn't that realistic?
Is that realistic, or is that still not realistic enough?
But but then you're kind of setting these categories of like, I'm being really good or I'm not being really good.
Okay.
Or on a day I have beer, then I'm not going to exercise, but I won't do anything the next day and I'll exercise it. Well, shouldn't we move our body every day? Yes, that's why we have legs, so that we can do that, right? And when we think about what we eat, I'm really a very big believer of swap for on the plate. So, the thing, and that doesn't mean don't eat vegetables. We never want to swap for that. But the other stuff, right? So if it's pasta or potato or rice or cereal or bread or beer or wine for me, or some kind of a dessert, it's like, which one of those things do I want? Maybe not all of them, but is there room on my plate? So then you're not doing, I'm really, really good or I'm really, really naughty, because that's exactly what people do. And then they get bummed out. It's like, oh, well, man, I can only do this so many times a week, so forget it. I'm just not going to bother, right?
Yeah.
Then you're a foodie, not a foodie, and we don't want that.
Oh, look at that.
I could keep her on for. I'm going to say, John, maybe as a company we should just hire her to be with us, because we need this.
Yeah.
No, because listen, as you know, everybody, women especially, our metabolisms are different. We go through I'm not poo-pooing the guy, but let's face it, if we go on something together where we say we're going to walk, it always ends up he's down 10 pounds and I'm like, oh, here's me at my 4.2.
Yeah, this is why people divorce.
Yeah,
right? Because
and we're not even married.
It just is that way. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yes.
And then you're secretly infusing lard into somebody's beer at night so that they don't do this. It's exactly the way that it is. No, we all, that's the wonderful thing about human beings is we're all on our own path. We all at our own rate. And we don't want to incur additional baggage, right? That's the problem with all this stuff. If people restrict too much, oh, I'm too tired to move. Oh, now I have an injury. Oh, now I have this. Or why? That takes the joy out of life.
Oh.
It's so true.
So
do you have to figure out what works? I mean, I've battled, I say to my family, there was a time I was, for real, 200 and some pounds, right? And so I looked at that time in my life and I say, I will never go back to that. But I still struggle. I'm certainly no thin min, whatever. But isn't everybody different on what works for me? So it really is a tailored craft, right?
Well, and as a registered dietitian and in my own business, so active eating advice, so that's my consulting business, is what I do. I see people one-on-one. Never, ever would I give somebody a sheet of choose and avoid, because we all know what happens. You look at the avoid list, crap, everything on there I love. It's like, forget it, I'm tortured already. It's like, I don't like you, goodbye. Right? Okay. But it's personalized, and that is the theme of National Nutrition Month this year is personalize your plate, because we all have different things we like. We all need different amounts of food. We all have a different price point. Some of us are culinary challenged, so even opening a can is like that's the limit of what we're going to do, right? And then what if you have underlying health issues or food allergies or intolerances? So it can't be one size fits all. No way.
So,
that's such a good point.
And so then I'm thinking lifestyle, because what we end up doing is we work out of Rachel's house, might show up and have a banana and maybe some oatmeal. So it starts off real good.
The day starts out great.
It starts off really good.
That's it.
And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're like, holy crap, we have
John
not eaten
sings
yet.
this song, and it goes like this. I'm so mother effing hungry, mother effing hungry. For real, we do that. Leslie, I'm not kidding.
There's copyrights on that.
I'm not kidding.
But so at 2 or 2:30, we're famished.
Right.
And now we're sitting there eating cheese popcorn because it's 100 calories a bag. And then
you're eating your arm because that still isn't satisfying, right? It doesn't work to do
and then
that.
the dog barks, and we want to cook him because he's in the way because he's barking. We're like, yeah, let's cook him. No, but either way, now we're binge eating at 2:30 in the afternoon.
And so correction number one is that because you start out the morning with banana, fine, oatmeal, fine. Both of those are carbohydrates. Where is the protein? I'm not hearing it. Where is the fat? I'm not hearing it.
Yeah.
So taking that, maybe like an overnight oatmeal. Okay, I put yogurt and milk in there. That adds the protein. And maybe, I've added a little bit of nuts on there. And all of a sudden, instead of being hungry in a half an hour, it's,
Is
I
it
was
because,
good.
so tell me, the protein and the fat deter the hunger?
So if we get our spoons in our Jiffy, we're good.
Well, okay, so maybe not exactly that, but taking some of that Jiffy and putting it into the oatmeal. Let's not get too carried away. So there we go. But and enough fluid too, because that's part of it. Is we got to have real estate in there, because when we're feeling hungry, we're useless. By the time that's happening, forget it. People are foraging, right? It's like the octopus effect. Every arm is reaching into everything.
Right.
Yeah, and you sit there and think, well, I've done this before too, where you go buy the rice cakes, and I'm like, oh, the rice cakes are healthy, and then I put like 4 tablespoons of peanut butter on it,
Yes,
and then I eat 6 of them.
And they're really the same thing as a styrofoam cup. One is tall, one is squished. So no enjoyment to that at all. Like, it's the vehicle for the peanut butter, but alone it's like, why bother? What is this?
So true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
And so honestly, people who have we've admittedly, right? I've done Weight Watchers always worked for me. So I think it's the accountability of what you're eating, which is sort of what you're saying about the plate consumption, right?
Well, it's support, right? Support's always important, whether we do that with our own support, talking to somebody else, joining a support group, some online something, accountability, because we need to be accountable to ourselves. It can't be an afterthought. If somebody's going to be successful, you have to think about it. So you're doing some monitoring in some way, shape, or form. Weight Watchers as well has really kept up with all the trends. So they evolve. It's not just keto or just paleo or gluten-free or whatever the nonsense is.
Cabbage soup diet.
Remember that one? You couldn't open your refrigerator after a day. It's like, oh my God, what died? And then you had no friends. So, not really a good thing.
What about the 3-day diet? Do you
Terrible.
remember the 3-day diet? You lose 10 pounds in 3 days. Here's what you eat, and it's like a hard-boiled egg. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, all of them. And they all come back in some reiteration. So, now
Yes.
we have keto, which, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be doing that.
Yes.
Really, they don't. It's not healthy. And it is all those things you take away really do not help you optimize. I mean, this is it. It's what's the baggage. Oh, now my cholesterol is higher. Oh, now I've actually had an adverse
Great
effect on
point.
bone health. And that does happen with keto. I mean,
Now-
this is the research. This is not just my
No,
opinion.
no,
right? This is
I have
looking
read
at the
that.
science.
And
Yeah.
let me ask you this, because we actually were contacted by someone who clearly follows us and thinks we're
Oh
both
my
fat,
gosh!
right?
I can't believe you're going to say this.
This fitness lady contacted us, wanted to know if
Hold
she,
on. Is she a fitness lady?
I don't know
Question
what she
mark?
is.
I don't know.
But she figured we were influencers on social media and offered us to come and get these injections and whatever. But my question is really, they first do some blood drawing and do some blood, analysis. Is the blood analysis necessary? Does it really
Asking
help?
for a friend.
Yeah.
Leslie.
Yeah, okay. So, here, as
'Cause
a
it seems
friend
to me,
commenting.
I like science, and you like science.
I do.
Okay.
And, there's a lot of these blood test things. I mean, having worked with athletes over the year, typically the more you charge for something, the more they want to do it, right?
Yes.
Because they can.
Yes.
But what are they getting out of it? I mean, I remember a couple of years ago being interviewed by NBC Nightly News. Like, let's do this blood test stuff. And so the reporter actually had his blood 3 times drawn, sent to the same lab 3 times, 3 entirely different results. Now, you tell me how accurate that is. I don't think so.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you.
a lot of these things are more about takeaway. Don't eat and take all these supplements because obviously you're dying. All right, well, that's making money for the person. It is
Yeah.
not based upon science.
It can be simple.
It should be. If somebody has a genuine lactose intolerance, you don't diagnose that yourself. You
Okay.
go to a gastroenterologist. If you have food allergies, you go to an allergist. You don't do any online nonsense. It's just not telling you anything. You're spending a lot of money and you're not getting back any good information.
You heard it right here on YaJagoff.com.
I mean, how about nightly news to YaJagoff.com? I love it. No, but I think what I hear mostly,
Right.
what I
A
hear that I
soaring
like
career.
most is she started her career saying, what am I going to do with this? Found dietitian work as the best way to go. It didn't change, right? It's the same formula, and people have just sort of gone back and forth on these fad things,
You know,
correct?
they have, and I think finally we're starting to evolve towards some sense instead of nonsense. But I've been doing this since 1982. It's
I
a
love you.
long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
but I still love it.
Right.
There's still more to learn.
Right,
And,
right.
it's all about getting people engaged. That's what it's supposed to. We have to eat every day, so why shouldn't we enjoy what it is we're putting in our mouth?
I love it. Okay, so can we have her on every quarter?
Yes.
We'll start paying
We're-
for it, but we want her on every quarter.
I
Something
would love it.
You're
No,
fantastic,
no, listen,
Leslie.
and again, I go back to, I love the fact that everybody knows you, but nobody knows you. And now we get a little bit of heart and soul out of you because when you're on PTL, you only get this amount of time. And I love the fact that we could get your personality here. And we've watched you forever. That doesn't mean you're old. That just means
No.
you're seasoned.
It does mean I'm
Yeah.
seasoned.
Yeah.
Seasoned.
And
You're a
Yeah.
I love
veteran.
it. And I'm so glad that we finally. This podcast has been going on every week for 5 years, and this is the first. It's our mistake to have you only on right now.
Agree.
I am
Couldn't
thrilled.
agree
more.
Now,
All right.
In the middle of a pandemic, we're
In the
still
middle.
spreading joy.
We are.
Spreading joy.
Joy,
Leslie-
joy,
That's
joy, not
Yeah, there you
germs.
go.
Yes.
Where does everybody
Yeah.
find you so that if they have questions, if they need your, one-on-one help,
Yes.
whatever that could
My
be?
website is activeeatingadvice.com.
How easy is that? And we'll have it in the
Right.
show notes.
Yeah.
And we can't let you go without our coveted question of the day. We're at Mike's Beer Bar. I looked at it again.
Yes.
When you are celebrating something, and I think you already answered this, what is your go-to drink and what is your go-to salutation? So I'm half Italian, and we always go salute. But then I'm half Irish, so whenever it's that time, John goes, it's cilantro. So I have to remember to do that. What are you drinking? Is it wine?
Yeah, I am a wine drinker.
Okay.
And it's usually white and l'chaim. There it is.
Ah, I love
Okay.
that. Okay. Leslie, we can't thank you enough. You have to come back.
Oh, my God, please.
This
Yeah.
is
Let's
awesome.
do this.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
really are going to consult her because we do walk. We're walkers. We walk 4 to 5 miles
We
a day.
solve the world's problems almost every morning walking into Bellevue.
But then it's that afternoon. We have to gotta call Leslie.
There you go. It's like, and I with my bullhorn. Get that out of your mouth now.
I love it, Leslie. Thank you so much.
All
That was so
right.
perfect. Does it get any better than
As
that?
we transition to Josh, what music are we hearing?
Oh, well, no one right now, but
Yeah.
actually, Steel Mill Rising, thanks to Fusion Entertainment.
Cool.
Dude, that was awesome, Leslie. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You're such a joy.
See a microphone.
Oh,
Oh
I
my
see
God,
that.
was fantastic.
I thought I lost my job.
Oh, we
No,
should
this
do
was
a
great.
Jagoff's diet tips or something.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
I'm telling you, a blog.
I'm
Well,
serious.
let's-
Oh, for sure.
Listen, we have space on our new website.
We
so
just told Josh.
Contact me. Let's
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah, we'll email you. Awesome.
That's so
Thank you
cool.
so much, Leslie.
Thank you.
Colin just needs you for 2 minutes to get a video.
Okay.
Thank you so
perfect.
much.
And
Josh, you're up. You can
come
wipe
on in.
down, bro.
This microphone is, we can wipe that one down or you can use this one. Whatever one you want.
That was awesome. Guys,
Thanks for spilling my
we have really good guests, in case you didn't know.
What's that?
Thanks for spilling my water.
Oh, yeah, sorry. there is one right there.
Oh, there's more. I'll get you one.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
All truth be told, it wasn't my cup that did it.
Oh, really?
I was going to throw her under the bus. Even better.
Never throw the guest under the bus. All right.
There you go.
So, all right. So, if you're watching on Facebook, we're still at Mike's Beer Bar, obviously, as you can see in the background. And our next guest is Josh Axelrod. And I'll wait for Rachel. No, that's fine. That's fine. So, our next guest is Josh Axelrod, Post Gazette writer, entertainment writer, that was social pop culture writer.
My title is technically features writer. I specialize in movies and TV coverage, dabble in a little media reporting as well, and I write for the goodness section every Sunday too. So
There you
I
go.
do a lot.
Well, and
Tell them how we know him, John. Hit him with it.
So you became our best friend right around the St. Patrick's Day parade time because, as we know, everybody's, being careful. And we came up with this idea of a fake St. Patrick's Day parade. And if you're listening to the podcast and didn't watch it, you can still go back on Facebook and even boost our numbers a little further because what we did is Rachel and I rode around in a pickup truck and we moved and the parade did not.
Right.
And we just kept coming around as people
But
got their areas wiped
Let
out.
me remind you that the reason we love Josh was because this was the phone call. Hi, guys. This is Josh from the Post Gazette. All right, you got me. So with our press release.
That's what he
What's
said.
cool is, Josh, as I admitted, I am a journalism geek, and I appreciate good old school reporting. And what I loved most about you was that when we started the conversation, there were steps. There was a method. It's not, and not that I'm downing. I mean, we're a podcast. 10 years ago, this wasn't any kind of form of storytelling. So I have to be honest and say, I get it. There's so many different forms of explanation now, but you really hold on to that true fit of journalism. Am I right?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
And let me just say, first and foremost, I get a lot of pitches every day.
Yeah.
But the virtual St. Patrick's Day parade really, really got my attention.
Good.
It was
good.
You guys wrote an immaculate pitch, and when I forwarded it to my editor, he was immediately like, "Well, this sounds fun."
There you go.
So yeah,
There you
half,
go.
half the
We're
battle
glad
with
to-
me is just writing a good pitch, and
Well,
great job.
How funny is that? Because that in itself is another question, but I'll let you answer this one, and then we'll go to
Yeah,
that.
I was going to say, to answer your original question, I don't know that I am an arbiter of old school journalism per se. I mean, I'm 29. I don't think I can speak
Why
for
do
the
you do
old.
that? Why do you guys think you did that?
Yeah. He
Go
just threw shade on you, Ray.
I don't think that's exactly what I meant to do. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make it clear. I don't know that I'm an arbiter of old school journalism.
Yeah.
I can't
Sure.
speak for the old heads, and
Right.
Lord knows there are enough of those.
No doubt.
But,
no doubt.
And the old heads also still do great work, and I don't want to disparage them. All I know is that I was trained to be a print journalist. I have training in a lot of other areas. I went to the University of Maryland. I have a degree in multimedia journalism from them. I have a master's degree in media and strategic communication from George Washington University. So
Okay.
I'd like to believe communication's kind of my thing. It seems to,
Wow.
be the niche that I've drawn for myself.
Wow.
So all I'll say is just that I think I'm pretty good at the form of at this specific form of communication. I don't think it's better or worse than any others, but it's what I'm good at.
Yeah. And
Well,
do
and
you
that's-
feel like
No, go ahead.
do you feel like at times just to have some fun you want to drift to a different direction of communication?
Why do you think I'm here?
Yeah.
I love doing podcasts. Podcasts are the
that
most
right?
fun.
Yeah.
I never get to. Well, the thing with print is that I can only be myself so much. I can
Yeah.
write with a little bit. I try to write with voice. I try to make sure whenever someone checks an article written by me, even if they haven't seen the byline, they know it's from me. But on a podcast, I get to actually be myself,
Yes.
and a lot of fun, and I'm trying to do more local ones. And so thank you guys again for having me.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh, we'll have to plug into some others that we know of.
Yeah,
for
for sure.
I'm so down.
And I
Yes.
think just to kind of refine, that's where I was going, is that I'm 15 years older than you. And in my day, journalism selection was literally print and broadcast. End of story. There's so many different avenues now. And you are 29. And so to you, oh my gosh, there's all these avenues. You chose this, older type. So the question I have now is, you talk about the press release. Our biggest question at our ages is the press release dead?
Oh, the press release is alive and kicking.
Love it.
Is that
I
right?
love to hear that.
I cannot tell you how many press releases I get on a daily basis. Some relevant to what I actually cover, some not so much. Some get deleted right away when I realize they have nothing to do with Pittsburgh. Others I keep for a rainy day, and then some I immediately forward it to my editor, and I'm like, this is a good release, and B, a good story. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, the press release is not dead. There's no way that journalists know. Let me rephrase this. Journalists try to do our best to know what's going on around the city in our coverage areas. Like, we do our best to stay informed about everything. But also, it's great when people tell us.
Yeah.
It makes our life a billion times easier. There are so many things I would have never known that were happening, like, for example, a virtual St. Patrick's Day parade, if you guys hadn't told me. So, no, the press release is doing great. And frankly, send me more of them. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm always looking for stories. I'm the weirdo who never feels like I have enough work to do.
Okay.
So, even when I am overworked. But, yeah, so send me more stuff is what I'm saying. And press releases. I want more.
Be
So let
careful
me
what
ask
you
you-
ask for.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because this is what I always hear Rachel talk about, because I'm not a traditional anything. I did nothing in reporting before this. I was just a marketing guy. So I came from the marketing side, writing the pitches, right? And then Rachel came from the reporting side and then transitioned over to writing the pitches. So I guess what do you see when you see a press release? How far do you dig into it to say, let me see, is this BS here or not? That kind of thing. And obviously you want to put your own spin on it, but do you like when they kind of half write the story, or at least give you enough, or I mean, when there's a quote in a press release, they didn't say it. It was their marketing person who said, Jim Lipschitz for the CEO said
Colin's
this.
really good at that, yeah.
So I mean, when you get that press release, you're looking at it with like a crazed eye, like I really need to dig into this, or you trust it at least, or it depends on who it comes from.
Well, I'll say first and foremost that my master's degree in media and strategic communication sounds like a word salad, but it really just means PR. So I technically have a master's degree in PR too. So I know how to make a press release. So I've written plenty in my day.
Okay.
And so I know the basic elements of a good press release, I would say.
Okay.
Which are be relevant to the reporter that you're you're soliciting, make it coherent, and definitely tell me how to proceed from there. Those are my main three things I would say I look for. And I don't know. I will say one of the first things I do is I just Command F Pittsburgh. And if the word Pittsburgh isn't in your press release, chances are it's going right into my trash.
There's your Google ads.
AdWords. Hey, SEO is everything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying SEO matters even in email. So, no,
I love it.
and I mean, to be fair, there are certainly times where I have to dig a little deeper, even if that word isn't there, and I find a nugget that catches my attention. But really, when it comes to a good press release, I do appreciate when people send those quotes that may or may not be fake. Sometimes I end up using them, and it's just easier than going out and trying to get them myself if speed is an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, again, send me all of your press releases. The worst I can do is not respond, but I know a good one when I see it. Let's put it that way. And again, my main thing is that if it has absolutely nothing to do with my beat, and if it's not even Pittsburgh related,
You're done.
save your hand strength.
Yeah.
I would say.
I love it.
I love
So what we liked about you is you're right. You wrote it. So I just knew after talking to you, like I said, you have this method, and we knew you were going to capture it, and you did. Every detail was on par. So what is it about the story? Do you have to be intrigued by it, or is it like, okay, I'm going to learn about this, or is it a little bit of both?
Well, I'd certainly say that you can tell when a journalist is writing a story because they have to.
Yeah, it's
as opposed to that it was something they were clearly passionate about. And I'm not saying that because I have to is a bad reason to write a story.
Sure.
Certainly there are just things that happen on my beat where I'm like, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't have this,
Right.
even if it's not something I might have jumped on myself.
Great point.
Like,
Great
just,
point.
just offhand. But
So, favorite story you've ever written?
God, there are quite a lot of those. The one that comes to mind always for me is I wrote a story for our goodness section, I think probably January, February, about the Hollaback Girls. They're these group of 3 giant Steelers fans from
Yes.
New Jersey. They bake challah, and the money goes to organizations that promote racial justice
Love.
and helped just bake challah for first line responders during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember
So-
that, John?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And Zach Banner with the Steelers partner with them as well, and that's what Zach Banner tweeting about them is what got my attention on them in the first place. And that had been a story that had been in the back of my mind since July. And when we launched the goodness section, I was like, this is my excuse to finally talk to them. And they're these 4 sisters. They're amazing. I'm still in touch with them on occasion. They're all really just fun, talented people, and that story just went gangbusters for us too.
That's
so
awesome.
That's the one that comes to mind. And so I started with the PG in June 2019, and I actually started in the sports section. And another good one that comes to mind is oh my God, I'm going to get the name of the high school wrong. A high school basketball team that was going to states, and the high school was going to fold. And I did a story on them as they were preparing for states, with also that knowledge in the back of their mind. It was like one of my rare A1 above the fold cover stories.
Wow.
And it was my girlfriend actually got a frame for me in a plaque.
That's
It was a very, very nice birthday gift from her.
That's so cool.
Nice.
And those are the 2 that always come to mind when I think of my favorite PG stories.
So now you're writing about the movies, and we know this is starting to ramp up again. Just as we're doing this podcast, just read about A League of Your Own kind of coming up here.
Probably my story, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so here we are. So talk a little bit about you're seeing this all start back up again, at least a little bit, right?
Yes, at least a little bit. I mean, so the Pittsburgh area has had 3 television shows already filming over the last couple months. Netflix had a horror series called Archive 81, and they also had The Chair with Sandra Oh. That's why Sandra Oh is in town going to that rally to stop Asian hate, and that video went viral. People were like, what's Sandra Oh doing in Pittsburgh? And I was like, read my stories. You would know. You would know.
Right.
But yeah, those 2 have been in town filming, and they just wrapped recently. And now I think everyone in Ross Township knows that Rust, the Showtime series starring Jeff Daniels, is here because they just shut down a street on Thursday.
Yes, they did.
We know.
That caused quite a stir. I was thinking about going out to the set, but I was told that because of COVID protocols, they don't
gotcha.
want journalists there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so that's happening. And yeah, we just found out this week that A League of Their Own is the Amazon series based on the 1992 Penny Marshall movie is expected to film around the area this summer. And I am in constant communication with Dawn Keyser from the Pittsburgh Film Office. She is amazing.
Amazing.
She does such an awesome job with getting Hollywood to know that Pittsburgh is a viable place to film. And she's got so much going on. I would imagine there's a wait list of I don't want to report this, but I think there's a wait list of potential movies and TV shows that want to film here.
Yes.
And
Well, you don't have to worry about it. We were with the deputy director yesterday.
Yeah, Heather.
Heather.
Heather's great too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she said the same thing. She said you would be shocked at how many things are in the works.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
people,
for us.
and Don will like me mentioning this. People need to keep track of this bill in the PA Senate right now
Yeah, right.
about the film incentive program,
Yes.
trying to raise the cap. That will make it so much easier for projects to film here,
No
and it creates
question.
jobs on jobs for people in the entertainment industry around here, and they put money back into local businesses too, like food and retail, and it's an underrated way that this area gets an economic boost and people get put back to work during a really tough time. So yeah.
So
Such a good
are,
point.
are the Yinzers trying to be your best friend to know, like, hey, where's this set going to be? Can I go hang out over there? Can I go hang out over here?
I've gotten a couple tweets here and there from people being like, I see something filming. What the hell is this? And then I text Dawn and she's like, oh yeah, it's just this. So yeah, I want more people to ask me those questions. I think that's a lot of fun.
Oh, is that right?
And
Okay.
I love interacting
That's
with
your good party question. Like, what you want people to ask, sort of.
you know,
Yeah.
people. I feel like there's a weird, not stereotype, but perception that Yinzers don't care about pop culture. They're these
Great point.
hardworking steel town people that they care about their sports and they care about their jobs, and they don't have time for a good movie or TV show, or to care about like when the celebrity said this.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. There's a thriving pop culture fandom in this city. Just look at Steel City Con a couple times a year. You'll see them come out in full force. And I love when those people interact with me on Twitter and on Instagram and any other platform. I want more of that. And I want people to realize that, like, not only does that, again, it's jobs, it's fandom, and it's fun. Like, when you see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and it's up for Oscars on Sunday, which look out for my Oscar story tomorrow night.
Yeah.
When there are going to be a bunch of movies tomorrow night with Pittsburgh ties.
Oh my God!
Frances
Right.
McDormand went to Monessen, and she might win Best Actress.
Yeah.
Leslie Odom Jr. went to CMU, and he has the potential to come home with 2 Oscars tomorrow.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's everywhere, and Ninjas should be proud of that and paying attention to that.
Listen,
my God.
a million years ago, when I was a young pumpkin paramedic, we shot a Young and the Restless scene downtown, and it was when these one of the big couple on The Young and the Restless were getting hit by a car, right? And that's the part they were filming in front of Oxford Center. And people were walking by like, what's going on? And we said, like, Crystal and Jake, whatever the names were, are getting hit by a car tonight. And the lady almost had a stroke. She goes, oh, my God! She was so concerned. I go, look, they're not really getting hit by a car.
That's
but
so funny.
they're so into it.
And that reminds me that it's not just the major Hollywood projects that are filming around here.
Mm-hmm.
I've done stories just in the last couple months about, like, direct-to-video on-demand, like, horror movies that filmed around here, like Redwoods and The Boonies. I write a story, like, once every couple of weeks about a short film that catches my attention. Like, these Pitt students did this story about 2 LGBTQ teens, like, finding each other. It's called Thanks to Her. It's really good. I'm writing a story on Monday about this short film about human trafficking that Point Park students did. Like, this is such a talented city. It is an underrated thing that people don't talk about enough, and it's something I'm growing more passionate about by the day, that I just want people to know how talented the film entertainment industry is in this city. And that's why I hope people get out of my stories, is realizing just how much talent we have here.
And you're not talking about just the actors. You're talking about the stagehands and because
actors.
Dawn has
It's just
repeatedly
such a
told us that.
it's
Actors,
such a growing
directors,
thing. Yeah.
producers. I mean, again, when we're talking about jobs coming here, I'm talking about in every facet of the production, not just acting or directing. I'm talking about there's a major film truck rental company in Pennsylvania that Haddad's I
just talked about that yesterday.
I actually just interviewed David Haddad for an article that's coming out soon.
The craziest thing is most Pittsburghers call it
Haddad.
He's going to get so mad at me because he told me that, and I botched it on air. But,
No, you're fine. You are fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
You were probably right, and where the answers are wrong.
I'm sure you're
right. It's a Jewish pronunciation coming out of
I'm
me.
sure you're 100% right. I
You're
trust you.
And John,
trust
we
me.
would be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Andy, the smokehouse guy, Andy, our bacon guy, because he's on set almost all the time for all of these different
Pittsburgh
things. Yeah,
Smokehouse,
he's the smokehouse food truck, and he ends up getting to do a lot of the food that are on site. So he gives us the in.
Give him my email.
We will do that.
I want to talk to him.
Love
now.
it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Catering for
he's
the
such a
stars.
great guy.
Yes.
Oh, he's such a great guy. Too.
He answers our question of the day every day with bacon. It doesn't matter what it is. But anyway, Josh, we love talking to people like you. You truly represent what Pittsburgh is and how up and coming we are. So thank you so much. Where does everybody follow you, find you, to see what you're doing next?
You can find all my stories on postgazette.com. I think I might already know for a fact I have a story coming out every day this week up through next Friday.
Nice. Okay.
that's how far in advance I work sometimes.
Well, we're fans, so we'll be listening and watching that.
And you guys can follow me at Jaxelberg with an H on Twitter. I love talking to people on Twitter, and I just want more opportunities to do that. And yeah, just again, I cover movies, TV, local media, and I write for our goodness section, and I have a goodness story almost every Sunday, which is such a fun thing to do, to highlight awesome, just uplifting stories about Pittsburghers too. And yeah, just
love it. Follow.
Right.
Follow.
Yeah. Hit that button and read my stories.
Do it. So
You're awesome.
Twitter's your preferred form of
So's
social media.
John.
Got it. All right. So
Twitter's
question
my
of the
thing.
day, Rach.
Ready? Here's how it goes. This is the coveted. It's scary stuff, so you need to be prepared. So here we are at Mike's Beer Bar, and I'm not trying to coerce you into saying beer, but what is your go-to drink when celebrating, and what are you saying? Salute, Salancha, what? What are we saying whenever we're doing that? Drink and salutation.
So for the record, I do like beer.
Okay, cool.
My go-to drink in general is a good dark and stormy. I don't think anything gets better than some ginger beer and rum.
That's a good one.
And with beer, I'm a big. I don't like IPAs. I'm a big stout and light guy.
Oh, we'll be giving you some YaJagoff beer.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I don't understand the point of just putting something that tastes nasty in your
Right,
mouth.
agreed,
So I don't
agreed.
pretend to like IPAs.
How are you saluting?
Honestly, I know Leslie already said it, but as a Jew, I'd be remiss if I didn't just hi him.
I love that.
Yeah.
I couldn't say. I was going to say that, and then I was like, I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not. So.
I'm sure you would have been fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Josh. It was a
Josh,
pleasure.
thank you so much, and please keep our email handy. So when you want to come on, you just come on, right?
Stay in touch about what you guys
Anytime.
are up to. I'm happy to write more
Absolutely.
stories.
Awesome.
I love it. Listen, here's what I got out of that interview. We write good press releases. Boom. So that makes me happy because, I'm always worried about, hey, is this right? Is this protocol right? Whatever. So this is the point in the show where you're going to see Josh is going to exit. Colin's going to actually get a video of him, and we're going to bring on the owner. We just have to wipe down the mics.
All right. So, So we're going to bring on Mike. Mike, come on in here. We're going to wipe down your microphone there.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We certainly appreciate it. Here's one for each microphone, whichever one you want to use.
okay.
Mike, I don't even know how you get better than a name called Mike's Beer Bar.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm a real creative guy, aren't I?
Well, the fact is, many people hire marketing firms and PR firms to come up with great names, but you did it, right? Mike's Beer Bar.
Yes.
So-
So it's just so I could find my way here in the morning. I'm a bit old, as you can see.
Listen-
No, and you're a Northside guy, right?
I grew up on the north side,
Okay,
yes, up
okay.
on Spring Hill.
I don't know how I haven't met you. My dad was partners at Atria's across the street. Did
I
you do
know.
some homework?
I know, well, a little bit of homework,
Okay.
but I've been to his place
It
over
gives
there.
you stuff. Okay.
Usually it's my dad, because he's of the same generation.
gotcha.
Goes over there all the time. So
Okay, yeah, small
tagged
world,
along
right?
with him.
But I'm proud to be a Northsider. Anytime I say, if we have a chance to be on the North Side, I say to John all the time, my God, especially you weren't here for the beginning for us to say, when North Shore started, Northsiders, now I was a Brighton Heightser, so admittedly, right? But Northsiders were like, what in the hell is this North Shore? Who do these people think they are? And now, Mike, you look at a place like yours, who would have thought that this is what it would have become?
I know.
It's amazing.
This was not a great neighborhood
No.
way back when. So.
Well, and it was a nothing, right? There was just nothing there. And then, obviously, kudos to PNC Park being still one of the most beautiful parks in the nation. Just the ability to kind of build around. What are you seeing, especially coming out of COVID? Obviously, some life, right? But what are you seeing that you most like about it down here?
What COVID has helped us with is to realize and recognize how much residential is still fairly close to us.
Sure.
When I first bought the business, this was really a baseball destination, in
Yes.
some degree a football destination. So I wouldn't say we had many regulars other than people who worked in the offices around here.
Correct.
But
yeah.
when everything then kind of shut down, including a number of restaurants in the neighborhood, many people found out from the neighboring apartments, that this was a place that they could come. And I started to gain an appreciation for just how much, of course you think about the north side and the War Streets and all, but
Sure.
just the number of apartment buildings that are around and how much residential is here. And so, if it weren't for them, it would have been a very tough go for the
Silver
past
lining,
year.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
How
silver
about
lining.
that?
Because it is a shame. I mean, we can't say that we don't all realize the hospitality industry has had such a hit, but it brings joy to celebrate places like this where here we are on a Saturday at 12:30 and there's life.
Yes.
And it's not just, obviously very safety driven, but there's life here, and that's fantastic to see.
And from the podcast standpoint, we are sitting outside on picnic tables with these barriers out on the street. So that was the help of the city.
That was
right,
the city-
recognizing the need, right?
The city really did come through for
Yeah.
a lot of places by making this the parking in the streets available. They've extended for all of us till the end of the calendar year, which is great
Oh,
because
nice.
for me, even though we're at 75% occupancy, in reality, I'm just over 40 because
Sure.
with social distancing of the tables,
Right.
I never even made 50% when it was
Sure.
50. So this is a real extension of the business, which helps out
Absolutely.
quite a bit.
Yeah. So I guess general question, right? Are you a beer guy?
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit about my history.
Yeah.
I'm fourth generation beer guy.
Uh-huh.
My great grandfather came over, back at the turn of the 1900s. Came
Sure.
in, and owned a bar right after Prohibition. My grandparents were one of the first licensees on the north side, in the state, had a beer distributorship on the north side.
Okay.
That ended up with my dad. And then ultimately, as a kid, I grew up, I didn't learn to drive a car, I learned to drive a beer truck.
Oh my gosh.
So I was doing beer deliveries back in the 70s, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning while the steel mills were still taking, the midnight shift was getting
How
off
about
of
that?
work, walking in, delivering cold beer. And then I went off to college. I had a corporate life. I lived 22 years overseas. And then as it came time to think about retirement, thought, well, what am I going to do next? And I thought, well, it's kind of in the blood.
And
I've
you're
gotta
like, let
figure
me
out
get
what
into
to
the
do.
most difficult industry
Yeah.
I've ever imagined.
Right.
Most guys, especially, at one point in their lives, dream of opening a bar.
Yes, that's right.
Then they wake up and say, well, maybe not. I
Right.
was just dumb enough to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
late in life, but
Yeah.
but it was something I knew. Yeah, I knew what I was going to be in for.
Sure.
And this place came about, which was, brought me back to Pittsburgh, brought me back to the north side,
Right.
same zip code that I grew up in.
Right.
When I bought it, it was only beer, and it
Okay.
didn't have a kitchen.
Right.
So it kind of allowed me to learn my way into it, because owning a beer distributor and owning a bar are very, very different
Yeah.
things. And so that's what happened, 2.5, 3 years ago. And then, of course, 6 weeks before the pandemic, I closed on the place next door, North Shore Tavern, and have a
I
restaurant
love
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
So it was probably not great
the best
timing,
time.
not the
Yeah.
best timing,
No,
but
yeah, it's a good
but
thing
it
it's
is
next
great.
door.
It
Yeah.
is next door, so it allows me to have, because I wanted to have more than one business. Having them in two different locations would have been much more difficult.
Oh, no question.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now that I'm learning about a second business.
Yep.
The pandemic also kind of helped and created a silver lining there, because we used the time to completely renovate
There you
the
go.
place
Yeah.
and brought it to really the way we wanted it to be.
Okay.
And so now we're here.
What's the one
Wow.
aspect of this Mike's Beer Bar that was your dream? You're like, I know whenever I have my bar, I'm going to have this item or these things in my
That's
bar.
a good question.
Thanks,
Well-
Rich.
You didn't even go by the script.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it probably wasn't what I wanted to do. Didn't end up in Mike's Beer Bar.
Okay.
It ended up in the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Because when I came back to the U.S., when I lived overseas, one of the countries I lived in was Switzerland, and
Oh,
in
bummer.
Zurich, yeah, I know it was tough. It was really tough. But I also lived in Russia and Romania
Yes.
along the way too.
Yeah.
So, but in Switzerland, in Zurich, there was a restaurant that did only meat or any protein on a hot stone. And I came upon this restaurant, and I really, really enjoyed the concept of it. It also happened to be right next to the hockey arena there, where the Zurich Lions
John.
played.
Yeah.
You know that's where we were going.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So my son plays hockey, and we were supposed to go to Zurich for for the World Ball Hockey.
Yeah,
And that's where we were going.
to Zurich.
To Zurich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right in the neighborhood was this restaurant, and more or less they were open at 6, closed at 9:30. They turned the table 3 times.
What?
Wow.
And so I became a bit enamored with it, both because I enjoyed the meal, but also because of the efficiency of the restaurant and how they could do that.
Absolutely.
And as someone who went to see the hockey games, I would go at 6 o'clock. At 6:05, I'd have a beer, and at 6:10, my steak would be on the table, cooking on the stone, and I'd have
Wow.
an hour to really enjoy a meal, which is more than enough time
Yeah,
to enjoy
sure,
a meal
sure.
once you have your food. Have another beer or two, cash out at 7:10, and be at the game on time. And I never looked at my watch. Right when I came back to the U.S., wanted to get back into either restaurant or bar business. I was
Sure.
looking at restaurants first, just to do that.
Sure.
I'd find the right building, not the right neighborhood, find the right neighborhood, not the right building, and then what was before Mike's became available.
Okay.
But there wasn't enough space back in the corner to have anything more than a very, very small kitchen. So I went about building kitchen, and then, of course, right after I finished the kitchen, the people next door came and asked me if I was interested in that.
Of course.
So now I have 2 kitchens instead of 1. But because it was a restaurant, I thought, well, why don't I try that here? Because I want to bring people down. I want to give people the reason to come down to the North Shore in February
Correct.
right? Because it's not a place that you come, and having a good hamburger, a good sandwich is not going to do that. You can
That's
find
right.
that most
That's
anywhere.
right. Yeah.
So the efficiency that you could get before a ball game by having, something that you can, if you do it well, get to the table quite quickly, eliminates a lot of the, concerns people have when they're, when time is an issue. Same with day, lunch. At lunchtime with people in the offices,
Right.
they have an hour. They want to get in and get out. And then, like I said, with kind of the neat concept that the steak on a stone is, we thought this will give people a reason to want to come down here and try to
cool
do
is
the
that?
business
Yeah.
that time of year. So,
And not only that, Mike, I mean, we know that life has become, instant gratification. We've all lived that way now. We don't want to, but who has to be at hockey? Who's working late? And you sort of go, listen, I need to be in and out or else
Right.
that's it. And we all have short attention spans anymore, right?
Yeah. Mike, we have a question of the day that we have to ask you, but before we even get to that, I love the Yinzer question. I have a Yinzer question for you. Yinzers always give directions by, go down to where the blank used to be,
Used
right?
to be, yeah.
So, when you were roaming around in these parts, what used to be in these corners? I mean, obviously PNC Park wasn't here.
to be honest, because I left after college,
Oh, I got you. Okay.
this neighborhood I wasn't as
Okay,
familiar with.
okay.
But I
And
did
if
go
I-
to the mall, Allegheny
Yeah,
Center
okay,
Mall.
Allegheny
That
Center
was the
Mall,
place
yeah.
that I
Okay.
remember
And I was
most
gonna
down in this
say,
area.
I don't remember what was here. I'm trying to, even as I was saying in the beginning, like, none of this was here.
It's hard to believe that PNC Park was never here
Right.
when you look at it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
yeah. Allegheny Center Mall was, we bought school clothes there every year.
I still catch myself if I'm trying to direct somebody. I'll say go up to the mall, and then I
Yeah,
have to
right.
stop and say, okay,
Right.
the mall's not there anymore.
That's
and
so
I
funny.
love
And the
it.
hot dog, the little hot dog stand outside
Yes,
of,
right.
what was the big Gimbals? Was it Gimbals? that was
no,
there?
Sears was in there.
Okay.
Sears,
I thought
yeah,
Gimbals was there.
yeah.
I'm much younger, though.
Yeah.
Listen, where does everybody find you? Because they have to come try this food. They have to taste test so many beers. And, shameless plug, we have a Jagoff beer now. So we might have to talk to you about how do we make that work together.
Well, and all of our beers, not all, but right now we have 350 of our 500 are local beers.
Oh, my gosh,
So if
Mike,
you're
that's
making
wonderful.
it locally,
North Country
Jagoff
Brewing.
beer,
North Country Brewing.
North Country, they're a great brewery.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
have a
they
number
are
of their beers on here. So we decided to focus quite a
I
bit
love that.
on local beer
I love it.
and make that kind of who we are. We have 80 taps. All
Wow.
80 are local, and then we've got another about 300 bottles and cans on one cooler. And on the other side, it's everywhere else in the world.
Everybody's
Focused mostly on
favorite
craft
friend,
beer.
Mike.
That's wonderful.
Mike that
I
owns
know,
a bar.
right? I know. So, Mike,
Mike'sBeerBar.com.
Yeah.
Easy to
Mike's
find,
Beer Bar. I was
right?
just going to
Perfect.
say it's
Yes.
Mike's Beer Bar. I
Yeah.
know, it doesn't get any easier than that. Follow on social media as well, right?
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Fantastic.
Twitter and everything else.
Listen, we would be remiss if we didn't use this question as the question of the day. So, what is your go-to drink? And we're surely hoping it's a beer. You don't have to show favoritism, and then what are you saying when you are saluting? What is your salutation?
So the salutation is cheers.
Okay,
I
easy
lived
enough,
overseas,
right? Yeah.
and I even say it frankly when I'm putting a beer on the table to
Sure.
somebody else because I worked with a lot of Brits, and it just kind of rubbed
Okay.
off on me as well. My favorite drink depends on the time of year, though, right?
Okay.
So beer is obviously one of my favorites. When the weather is cold, a single malt Scotch is my go-to
Oh,
almost
okay.
every
That's a
evening.
good one too. Yeah.
When the weather gets warm, a nice gin and tonic is always great. I'm a big beer drinker. IPAs and sours are my two favorite styles.
Okay.
Okay.
And Pittsburgh's got a ton. Pittsburgh breweries have a ton of great,
Absolutely.
IPAs and sours for that matter. So
And kudos to you for really patroning local because that's so important. Especially,
Yeah.
we've all learned our lesson from the pandemic that it's so important to support locals. So,
The third business
Wow.
is Mike's Single Malt Scotch Bar.com.
yeah.
more or less the same ingredients.
Yeah,
as
right, it's
beer,
a little
right? So
longer.
a little bit, but
Mike, thank you so much for hosting
Yeah.
us.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
having
much
us.
for
Yeah.
having
Appreciate
me. I
it.
really
And,
appreciate it.
Everybody on Facebook Live, it's the North Shore. It's right across from PNC Park. Like you can't go see Willie Stargell, then come down
Yeah.
here to Mike's
I mean, you
and get
can't
a
miss
beer.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right. That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mike.
thank you very
Mike,
much.
thank you so much. All right, so coming up, we have our
How are
musician.
you?
Oh.
I'm just greeting people. Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Michael,
I would.
yes,
let's
thank
try
you.
a beer. Do you want to try a beer? Yeah. Give whatever you think. I'm not a big beer drinker. I drink Guinness when I drink it. Does that help? Whatever. Okay, that would
I'm
be
like
great.
a Yingling. I like North Country's, what do they have?
Firehouse Red.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll have that for
Firehouse
sure,
Red.
please.
That would be great.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you want to try it? Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate it. And we'll
Kind of
just
a nice
start
light
it
stout.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was John and I stopping the interview because we needed to.
Because we wanted a beer.
We wanted to have a beer. I mean, how do you go to
Right.
Mike's Beer Bar without having it, right? So, John, I looked over and I was like, uh-oh, she's here. She's kind of enjoying her time. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. John's just going to wipe down. That's awesome.
Have a seat?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
I
coming.
appreciate that. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh,
Are
my
you
God,
kidding?
Are you kidding?
Listen, John has had this info on yours riding around in his car for a month. He goes,
It
"Is this
is.
the?" I'm not kidding you. He's like, "Is this the episode?" Because we don't look.
this the
Tracy
one?
does everything for us, but he's like, "Is this the episode where Kim's on?" And I was like, "No, John, that's not until later." So trust me, he's excited
You
to
can
have
use either one of these or both wiped
Okay,
down.
okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty.
All right. There you
Well,
go.
that's good because and
Yeah.
it worked out great because I just finished my second vaccination, so I'm like, this is the first time I've gone out and I've had to wear pants for an interview. I do, both sides of my head.
Right.
It's just like going out in public.
I hear
Normally,
you.
it's
Nice.
Zoom, right?
I got
So
you.
it's
Nice.
all here, so it's
I
gonna
hear
be
you.
fun to see people again.
Well,
I
there
love
you
it.
go. All right,
I
so
love
get
it.
real close. You have to.
All right,
Yep, there
this
you
is
go.
good
No,
like
no,
this?
you're good. That's perfect.
All
So,
right.
yeah, listen, I have to tell you, I'm enamored with. I saw you on Bill Flanagan.
Oh, right.
You're like,
Yes,
does
I love
anybody
Bill.
watch those Sunday morning shows? Yes, they do.
So now we know.
Right,
I was
right.
wondering.
So I watched you
Chamberlain.
there,
That was
and the
awesome.
craziest thing is that I think of is that when I read through your stuff, the intuition program of trying to track your intuition, and Rachel and I both are kind of gut people in that we really trust our gut a lot, but
Great.
there are times we're wrong, and but I'm sitting here thinking when I went through your program, I printed off all the charts, but I have yet to start it yet. I'm a failure because I didn't do it yet.
No,
but-
you're not a
so
failure.
let's talk about that. Your first of all, give us a little bit of your background, please,
Yeah.
and then let's lead into the whole program of trusting your intuition.
Yeah, for sure. So well, I mean, I'm so excited to be here. This is right in my sweet spot. I love Pittsburgh. I've done so much in Pittsburgh for the last 20 years, working for the Tech Council and working at that intersection of creativity and innovation. And intuition really plays an important part in all that, because what most people don't realize is that intuition is really that sort of link behind all of that, behind innovation, behind creativity, behind ingenuity and genius and all that stuff. So we've been hesitant, I think, a lot of people to use that word intuition because we didn't understand it. So the reason I wrote the book was really to bring people out, everyday people, to talk about intuition is something really normal, and it's something that's actually something that's a missing piece in this whole process that we use every day. So that's why we got people from Pittsburgh like Jesse Schell and Carl Kurlander and all kind of Audrey Russo, people from the Tech Council that really get this other side of intuition that's very practical and no nonsense.
Is this something that just kind of came to you one day? Something you had been researching? Because I mean, it's out there when you think about it. It's out there when you first hear about it. But then when you think about it, you're like, yeah, I mean, I would love to know how many times was I right when I trusted my gut? And that's what your program is.
Yes, exactly. And I think the idea behind this is really becoming conscious of our intuition. Because so many of us, like you're saying, we use intuition intuitively, right? We're not even aware
And
of
that's
it.
all part of it,
right?
Yeah.
But what we start to realize is, as young people, if we would have been fostered to understand our intuition the way we were fostered to understand our intellect and our
Yes.
critical mind, we would become aware of how we're using our intuition. We would have become aware of how those gut feelings are playing out. So that's really where, my passion was understanding and learning how to levitate those experiences. So we know that, oh my gosh, this was my intuition. This was right. I used this. I'm going to do this again. And I realized early on that it's something that if you can do it once, you can do it again. If it's repeatable, it's learnable. And that's really the idea with the program that I started a few years back with Intuition Lab, is really hacking intuition, learning to use it, learning to repeat it, and realize how it can impact your life.
And I want you to talk about Intuition Lab because, sometimes we get to a point, and this is just playing devil's advocate, where it's like everything has a thing, right? How does intuition kind of play into an Intuition Lab? But before I go into that, and I want you to explain it, what if your intuition's wrong? So what do you do then, right? And,
Yes.
and I think that's the biggest fear, if I can even elaborate. I think women especially, and I don't know any different because I'm a woman, but women have that pressure of, oh, it's women's intuition, right? Or if you're a mother,
Yes.
you should know this. But we're human.
Right.
So our biggest fear is failure. So if our intuition tells us something and it's wrong, what do you do then?
Well, so here's the thing. This is like one of my all-time favorite questions, and I
You suck.
No, this is good.
This is our competition to try who can get the best question.
The best question. Well, she hit the nail on the head with this one because guess what? Your intuition's never wrong.
Okay.
Never wrong, because intuition is actually synonymous with truth. So when you're tapping into your intuition, you're touching truth. You're touching that all-knowing part of yourself, that higher part of your brain and your mind that knows stuff that like our kind of little conscious ego mind doesn't get sometimes, because we're only using like a part of our brain. The reality is that we get our intuition wrong. Right? So it's so easy to confuse our intuition with our emotions or our fears or our desires.
Yeah.
And so part of that, one of the most important parts of developing our intuition is learning to recognize the difference between those different voices in our head, right? Is that really my intuition telling me to do that? Or is that like my emotions telling me to do that? Like, I really feel emotional about this and drawn to it. But it really wasn't my intuition, right? So we've all had that sort of tension and that friction.
Right.
But with time, when you start to practice, you notice your intuition feels different.
So,
Boy, that helps, right?
yeah, I mean, so I look at it like this. When I looked at the chart that you have on your website, that's free and downloadable. But we track. We just had Leslie Bonci on. You track your food.
Accountability, right?
I ate four Thomases. I drank 4 glasses of milk. Whatever.
Thomases are English muffins, and John and Rachel talk, just so you know. Like, John will be like, "Do you want a Thomas
I didn't
today?"
eat 4 glasses of Thomas yet. But then the next thing. So now. You do the same type of thing as far as tracking your intuition.
Yes.
And thank you, Mike. And so it's totally cool. It seems like a lot of work, but it is just like yoga, just like anything else. There's a work to put into it, but then the output has to be incredible. And again, I feel like a failure that I haven't tried it yet, but we are. When I saw you, we always go, what do you think? What do you think? Like, we have some data, but the gut and our guts are usually pretty good.
And it is. And your gut will always be right?
Okay.
That's the thing. If you're really tuned into that right voice and you recognize what your gut really feels like, it can't steer you wrong, because that gut is connected to that best path, that best decision, right?
You just solved a really big thing for us, right?
That's right.
That one person that we were wondering about.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, but it's so true, so true. So how do you take that it's abstract, right? It's not something that you can teach tangibly. How do you take this and really educate people, for people who don't know?
And that's been my challenge. That's been my passion, because what's extra hard about teaching intuition, first of all, people don't really understand what it is. Everybody thinks it's like I got to get out my crystal balls and talk to the spirits and stuff, but it's not that. I mean, it can be that for some people, but that's not what it is for most people. They don't understand what it is, and then it manifests so differently for different people. Like, it's so specialized. Like, the way you get an intuitive feeling or a gut feeling or an idea is going to be totally different than the way you get it, because we're all wired differently. Like, I might just have knowings. I might just I just know we should do that.
Yes.
Or you might be like, I have a feeling in my heart about this that feels really
or I'm just
right.
a crazy bitch, and it's
right?
like, well,
yeah. Right. Well, I mean, crazy intuition, it's all part
She
of that
admitted
sort
it
of side
right
of your
there.
brain. No, it's true. We're all a little crazy. But understanding that we all have our unique intuitive language, it makes teaching it a little harder. So what I have to do is teach people how to understand their language. And there is a system behind it. It's not just some willy-nilly thing that, lightning hits or doesn't hit. No, there's actually a system. There are things you can do to open your intuition, to make your intuition happen more. And then once you start to learn to recognize that, you start building your language and understanding your unique system. And so the Intuition Lab is really a customized program for people to develop their own personal intuition.
I love that. So and it is free, and as John said, like, you can't explain, like, what is the process, the overall process that you'll take them through?
Yeah, so, if you go to the website, I think this is one of the things we're talking about, I have a free 12-page guide,
yes,
a Wake Up
that's
Your
what he's
Intuition
talking
guide.
about. Yes.
And that's a step-by-step process, really, to just sort of activate your intuition and open it up. And it starts with the very simple step of slowing down, which is so important, because if you want to hear your intuition sneaks in those little moments between our crazy thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So we are compulsively thinking all day long. So our intuition can't get through a lot of the time. So when do you hear your intuition? When you're driving in the car, right? Yeah. In the shower. There's times when you're like zone out and your mind is like somewhere else. That's that fertile ground for those little insights and ideas and creativity to come through.
So when you're relaxing, good intuition.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, what I see this is that, sure, I might be home sitting and needing this, but I see this so good for business owners.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, because then a small business like ours, we don't have all the resources to go get attorneys and 9 opinions and whatever.
Yes.
There are very, very many times we have to trust our intuition.
Yeah.
And this is a necessary business skill, is the way I see it.
That's actually one of the main areas that I work with people. I'd say majority of my students are small business owners that are working to build their business. And when you talk about entrepreneurship, that goes hand in hand with creative ideas and like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to pivot? How can I reach out? All these ideas that come through your intuition.
Right.
So really aligning with that and knowing when something feels dissonant, that it's not like a good path versus something that just feels expansive and opens up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are ways that you can understand like the alignment for your own personal growth.
Right. And it's like the base, right? That's
Yes.
the baseline.
It's
And
all
it is
about
kinda-
the base.
that base.
So you have a book out.
Yes.
So talk about that, and the people can they get it at Amazon? Can they just get it at your website?
They can get it anywhere. It's in bookstores all over the world, Amazon, you name it, anywhere online. It's called Radical Intuition, and the idea behind it is really, creating this new understanding of intuition is a valuable component for all human beings. We all have it. Every single person that's ever walked the face of the earth has it or will have it forever. It's part of how we're made up. So this book it's not just a reading book, it's a doing book. It has exercises, practices, all the stuff that you can do to really start integrating and amping up your own intuition.
That's awesome. No,
We need reading material.
I'm turned on to it. I really am.
He was, and I have to
watched
say,
you.
we're very fortunate because, as Josh from the Post-Gazette was saying, not that we're these full-blown journalists, but sometimes you have people on the podcast that it may not be my interest, you know,
Right.
but it educated me, and and I'm like, okay, well now I can relate to that, or at least from
Yeah.
a conversation. And I give him credit on yours because he literally was like, we got to get this lady on the podcast. This was so interesting. And like you said, you don't know the measure of who's watching that show on a Sunday. But
Right.
to know that you touch someone enough to
I
say,
know.
hey, come on and spread the word.
Yeah.
He's
it's
got
pretty
good
cool.
intuition.
Listen, we call my car the Let's Make a Deal car because you could say, John, do you have any dental floss? John, do you
Listen,
have a
there's a
shoelace?
fork.
Whatever. Yeah, is there a fork there?
Yeah,
And
it's
your
there.
papers, I carry them around religiously in the back of my driver's seat.
Literally,
And
he's
I
like,
look at them,
"Is
and I'm
she
like, I
here?"
got to fill that out today. I got to fill that out today. So now I'm destined to do it. So
Yeah,
Aw,
no, thank you so
tell
much.
everybody
Wonderful.
where they find you online and social media and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can go to my website, kimchestney.com, and you can also check out Intuition Lab at intuition-lab.com, and I have all kind of courses and workshops and all kind of fun ways to get engaged and start developing your
And
intuition.
it's Chestney with a T.
And you're
Chestney
he's
with a
getting
T.
engaged?
Yeah.
John's getting engaged. You just heard it.
Jeez. Grandfather engaged.
Get
all
engaged.
the
It's
same
It's a
day.
matchmaking
Yeah.
site.
That's awesome.
No, Kim, thank you so much. All right, question of the day. This is the toughie. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Here I
All
go.
right, here we are, Mike's Beer Bar.
I love it. I love
Have
beer.
you been
I
here
love it.
before?
I know. This is my first time
Okay.
here. It's awesome.
Oh,
We're having
okay.
lunch. I got a beer waiting for me
Oh,
over
There
here
you
now.
go. So the question is, whenever you're sort of celebrating something, what is your go-to drink and what is your go-to salutation? Like I said, I'm half Italian, half Irish, and I either say salute or cilantro. What are you saying? And what are you drinking?
Well, I'm a big fan of wheat beer. So any
okay.
kind of wheat
Everybody had a
beer,
different
that's,
answer.
That's
Oh,
mine.
yeah.
I love the wheat beers.
Okay.
That's my favorite. And I don't know. It's usually just cheers.
I like
I'm
that.
British,
Okay.
good old-fashioned
There you
cheers.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I think it's cheers, really. I think
Oh,
mine's
okay.
cheers, yeah.
I say
I mean, when
salute.
we're in the mood of, the Irish thing, it's cilantro, but I think I just say cheers.
Yeah, I say salute because even on St. Patrick's Day, remember you yelled at me
Yeah.
and you're like, stop saying salute. right?
Right,
I just
right.
forgot.
That is
I had a
awesome.
couple car bombs.
We're going to hear some more music coming up here next as we
Yeah.
transition to our last guest of the day.
The musician.
Oh, why is the musician always last, Rach?
I know. They have the most labor-intense job, too.
Right.
I hear you. Thank you so much. You were amazing.
you
This was
guys
perfect.
are so
No, it was a
I would
pleasure.
have brought you books. I wish I would have thought.
No. We will buy them. No, we will definitely buy them. Thank you.
Colin just needs you real quick for a
I'll
video.
jump over
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
It was so nice
Yeah,
meeting
stay
you.
in touch.
And stay
because
in touch if
things-
you have a new book coming out.
I
or whatever
definitely
that
will.
could be. Yeah.
When is this? Is it live? Or is it
So we do Facebook Live, yeah.
No, go ahead.
And then Tuesday, it'll be on Audacy, the Audacy, KDKA.com on Monday, and then our site on Tuesday.
Sweet. I will
Yeah.
share it.
And then,
for
yeah, we'll tag you, so don't worry.
The
But
video,
yeah, but he'll
if you
go.
get home early enough where we're recording it.
Right, you guys.
So the video of the background
How are
is
you
going to
guys? Good to meet
say,
you.
we could go up today, or maybe to go up around 10 o'clock
So I
tomorrow
come from
morning.
musician
Just
family,
because
I
we want
totally
to,
get that this is
in the middle of the day, maybe nobody's going to watch it.
basically,
It'll go up as a new year.
we want
So
to
then,
know,
so
so we
probably
don't bring,
expect like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And Mondays when the podcast is edited.
Go directly into the feed.
But Tracy, who organized it here, she'll send you all the links. So it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
That's fine. Just email Tracy or whoever. Did you work with Amanda? Okay. Okay. Email Amanda the MP3. She'll get it to us. Okay. Actually, I'll give you our email so it comes directly.
All right, everybody on Facebook, we're getting ready to do our musician. Rachel's giving them the ground rules, and then we're going. But we are drinking beer. I want it spoken for that North Country Brewing Firehouse Red is here, and there's no doubt that the YaJagoff beer is going to be coming here soon. All right. I'm going to wipe down the microphones.
I can do it. I'm right here.
Oh, you're okay. Cool. Well, we can put a couple here.
To play first, and then
Yeah, you'll play, and then we'll have you
So
guys.
why don't you introduce them on Facebook there?
Oh, thanks, boss.
No, I didn't know if you were.
So, Steel Mill Rising, right? I love it. All right. So, John was doing all the chatting while I was getting familiar with the band. So, we have Steel Mill Rising. We're super excited to hear them sing. As you guys know, we are not high tech. We're mobile because we want to be everywhere in Pittsburgh. So, they're going to do a song for us, and then we're going to chat with them a little bit.
Okay. There you go. And singer too?
we have
or more like,
yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go like all right here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want me to hold it?
that'll work,
For,
that'll
you want me to hold it?
Oh, no, girl. We're
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Would be good.
I'll get out of the way because I'm blocking the camera.
Like
Down there?
that's good. Yeah.
I've been running around my head with the innocence, dying for a glimpse at something new. She was just a young girl when I first met her, full of dreams only I could see. Too many years now I've been on my own, searching for that new beginning. She used to laugh and say, "You're just a dreamer." I'd rather be a dreamer than myself. Give me something to believe in. Give me a reason to come around. We've been running around the same old town for years now. Take my hand, I'll lead you out. Never thought I'd see your face again, standing here across from me. So many things I'm just dying to tell you, but I can't find the words to say. Give me something to believe in. Give me a reason to come around. We've been running around the same old town for years now. Take my hand, I'll lead you out. Give me something to believe in. Oh, give me something to believe in. Give me a reason to come around. Just give me a reason to come around. We've been running around the same old town for years now. Take my hand, I'll lead you out.
step over here, you can, so we could get you on a little more. You guys were fantastic. Here, hon, you could just put that there. I just took it off. So that
Actually, yeah. So they're all three want to sit there. Is that what you want to do? All right. Cool.
How about that? Nothing like a Saturday afternoon on the North Shore with like 3-piece harmony. That's, well, 2-piece, right? You're not a singer.
I was going to, but it would be better today if I just played.
Oh, okay.
It's like, because it would be stronger that way.
I love it. Regardless, 2-piece, 3-piece. Listen, guys, I did a little bit of reading on you. You performed in 2018. Was this like a whimsical thing? And then all of a sudden you were like, we're not bad at this. Let's keep it up. Is that what happened?
So Steel Mill Rising got started when I was a senior in college. I was living up in Clarion University, and I always loved music. I always wanted to form a band and play. And so my roommate at the time, Tyler, he tells me, hey, I have this cousin of mine who's a drummer. And so I go to his hometown. I meet his cousin. We start talking about bands and everything and, like our influences. And we're like, why don't we start a band, the both of us? And so we go around scouting for musicians, and we formed this band that came together in 2018, which is different from the band we have today. And then it's just, we had the name and it stuck, and we just kept going ever since.
Why the name, though? What was that reason?
So I always get asked that question. So
yeah, I know it's not overly original, but
so Steel Mill Rising. So I'm a huge classic rock and roll fan.
Okay.
And I've always been a fan of that. I've always kind of like been like, kind of weird, because everyone wants the what's going on now, what's modern, and I liked the stuff like the 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
So the steel mill kind of represents rock and roll for me, because I had a great grandfather who worked in the steel mill all his life and lost his hearing and everything, and I'm from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh associated with steel mill. I think steel mill is like a rustic thing, and it's just rock and roll stuck with that, and so that's the rock and roll part, and then the rising is that this band is bringing that back to the.
You really are
trying to bring it back to the mainstream.
And listen, I will admit that I typically will listen to bands prior to. It's just been one of those weeks. You guys are fantastic. I mean, your harmonies are great. You're sitting down, which obviously for your diaphragm isn't always the easiest thing to do. You're sitting down and you sound fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't. It's more than just me. It's everyone here to my left. I'll introduce. I'm Matt Kamenicki. This is Letizia Kalini, and then Jacob Zhang,
Jacob, you got the easy name. I don't know what he said about those two. We'll talk to you.
Yes, Slovak and Italian. Oh,
yeah, there you go. Good combination. I'm sorry. You don't have a mic? Oh, sorry. Jacob, talk to us, because John just kind of nodded over your way. What's your role? What's up? You chose not to sing today, which is fine, because I love the fact that you guys are saying, like, I knew, in this setup what I needed to do. What is your role typically in the band?
Typically, I play electric guitar when we do live, and I'll sing like backup harmonies or something like that.
Okay. Talk about harmony. How hard is that? How hard is that to hear when you're in an atmosphere, an environment like this?
Well, it's critical that you are able to hear T and Matt, just so you know what parts they're covering.
Okay.
And then you need to hear, like, in your head. After you do it for a while, you begin to just, like, hear it without physically hearing it. It's called auditing, I think. And then you can sing it. And I don't know how else to explain it. It's just,
okay. Yeah. How long have you been in the band? And do I call you T?
Yeah, T's fine. It's going to be it's a little bit over a year, right?
Okay.
Yeah, right when quarantine started, I joined the band. Weird time to join, but...
Yeah, right. But don't you feel like so many good things came out of it? I mean, we all sort of made the most of what was a bad situation,
Definitely,
right?
yeah. So we went to school together. He was a little bit older. And then I knew of his band. I knew Steel Mill Rising, and I thought they were awesome. And I posted a video with my dad, Lenny Kalini, of a cover. We did, I think it was Dust in the Wind. And Matt messaged me, and he was like, hey, we're looking for a strong female vocalist if you're interested. And I was like, that'd be great. Like, definitely. You guys are awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And I hit the jackpot with this one. First
you
second
did.
I heard her, I thought immediately Linda Ronstadt.
Yes.
And
it's a great comparison.
Yep. That was the first. We played a cover of "You're No Good," which is one of Linda's most famous songs, and
I love that you're telling me, this young guy is like, just so you know. No, you're so right. And that's not an easy song either. She has that sultry, really melodic song. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, it's a tough time, but you guys are coming out of it. Where are you performing now, or how are you sort of hanging in there for people to know who you guys are?
So whenever quarantine first hit, we were lucky enough to get in touch with a place called Steamworks Creative, which is in Allison Park, PA, which is actually where we're playing tonight at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
If you guys want to come on out.
Okay, we'll share that.
So what they did, they reached out and we did a virtual concert, and this was like right before she joined the band. So but after we played that, I'm like, okay, we looking back, watching the video, getting the kind of like watching film as a football coach, seeing like what needs to change, what do we need to do, and then started making changes in the lineup, and the band was completely different from whenever we started then to now, and it's just, I was lucky enough to be able to see what needs to be changed.
You knew you needed that piece?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I knew I was missing something, and then the first time she came over, we were rehearsing in my garage, and I was like, we got it, you know. So, and I was so excited. And then we started putting together our second album, which is Highway Traveler, which is coming out April 30th.
Okay.
And it's just his singing, her singing, his production on it is incredible, and I'm maybe a little biased because I write the songs, but I think it's a really great album coming out. Yeah.
I had to. You guys are 3, but are there more of you, or are you just kind of a scaled down version right now for us?
Yes, so this is like if we were to do like an acoustic show, this is who we would have for like a stripped down acoustic show. But we have a 6-piece band. We have Danny Falk on drums, Keegan Dezidik on bass, Jake Smith on rhythm guitar, and then us 3 filling in the other pieces. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So what was it like? What was the aha moment? Obviously, they said they needed that female voice. What was that like for you to kind of come in?
Definitely. So I grew up playing with my dad's band, so of course they're older gentlemen, but it was just awesome to play with people kind of my own age and kind of do older songs too, like the 70s, 80s, but then also be able to bring in a little bit of pop stuff and more current things and like that. And it's definitely a good experience to get out with these guys, and we all grow together. Like from where we started, like he was saying, to where we are now, we all listen to each other very well, and we play a little bit of like rock stuff that maybe Jake wants to play, and then we'll play some more bluesier stuff that I like to sing. So like we all kind of put in our own,
It's a great balance, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So it's nice.
Jake, what's your favorite song of all time?
I don't know.
I don't know is never an answer.
There's a lot of songs.
Okay, what's your genre? So she looked at you when she said rock. Is that you?
I like a lot of rock music. I like funky and like soul and R&B too.
Okay.
I like that. And then I listen to like pop music today.
Okay.
To stay
current.
Stay what's
right?
up.
That's what moms do.
Jake is the mom of the group.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, you guys, tell everybody the name of your song. Where can everybody find you? And then we have a question of the day.
So we are Steel Mill Rising. You can find us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find our music. Our song is called Something to Believe In. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming platforms, really YouTube as well. And yeah, we're playing at Steamworks Creative tonight.
I love it.
And and if you go on our Facebook page, we have all of our events. We have a very busy summer coming up, so
that's great. Oh, that makes me
you
so
guys come
happy. That's great. We will definitely go. Will we not? Okay. So, question of the day. You can each take a stab. I'm sure you heard this already.
I know.
We're here at Mike's Beer Bar, and it's, you guys weren't here when I was saying this. I keep looking over. Like, it's Mike's Beer Bar. I'm not going to forget that that's the name of it, but I look up every time. That being said, what is your go-to drink and what is your go-to salutation when you're celebrating something? And listen, it doesn't have to be alcohol, because I'm not sure who's 21, to be honest with you. But okay, let's just go there.
Neither as many people when they hire us to play at a bar.
When you said senior year of college, and I was like high school, and you were like college, I was like, what? Same. Go ahead.
All right, so my favorite drink is an Icy Light.
Okay.
I love Icy
All
Light.
right.
And I got to go with just Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what everyone's seeming to say. Go ahead.
Well, coming from a strong Italian heritage.
Get it, girl.
I love red wine.
Okay.
And of course we say salute. Okay. You know, you can't.
Finally,
go
we
wrong
got
with
another
that.
sip. She was like, I better say that, or this chick's going to go mad. Jake.
I like chocolate milk. It's my favorite drink.
Maybe you could tell who's not 21 in the band.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, that was a good answer. And do you say what? Cheers?
Like, for when? Like,
so let's graduate. Like, my son is going to Penn State. So when we're all together, we're like, cheers, salute, cilantro. What would you say?
I think our family says cheers.
Okay, there you go.
We do that. Yeah.
That's good. And you salute, right? You put your glasses in.
We do.
All right, with your
Clink the
choco milk.
glasses.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have to add this one last thing
it.
before we get off, because I know I'll hear it from him if I don't bring it up.
Do it.
So, my father was the one who helped me create the name Steel Mill Rising. We were at Kennywood, all right? So we were at Kennywood, of all Pittsburgh places to be, and we're walking to the Phantom.
Okay.
I remember we looked out, and there was like a steel mill out there, and he kind of recommended, what about Steel Mill Rising? The
Just
Rising
from that
part,
moment.
yeah, because we're huge Bruce Springsteen fans.
Okay.
And he has a song called The Rising.
He
I think we
does.
heard it on the way to the park, and we were just thinking, so I got to give him credit as well, because I know I'll hear about it if I don't give him some credit.
I hope my kids are listening and they know it's important to give your moms and dads credit. So awesome. I don't even want to say goodbye. This was like one of those podcasts. It's like, God, one thing after another. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. You're going to be able to hear these guys. They are performing tonight. We're going to put, the info in show notes as far as where to follow them, find them, go see them over the summer. They have a great whole menu of places they're going to be. So get out, start living again, see these guys. And we have lots of thank yous. You're going to have to just pass the microphone over to John. Cool. John, did I do an okay job?
So we have to thank everybody. Yeah, right. Like this is amazing. So Facebook, you're going to go download the podcast on Monday from the Audacy app, or catch it on YaJagoff.com on Tuesday morning. These guys will be there. Everybody will be there. And everybody meaning Kim Chestney talking about your intuition.
Yes.
And it'll be Mike from Mike's Beer Bar, right? And Axelrod.
Josh Axelrod from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Say that real clean so I can edit that.
Sure. And Josh Axelrod from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He has a lot of different columns that he's writing, a lot of different things. He's such a good dude. And he covered us for our virtual parade. And thanks to Leslie listen.
We're all getting skinny.
We're all getting skinny because
of
we're not eating We're not eating the whole bag of popcorn anymore, ever.
Right.
Thanks to Fusion Entertainment for these guys, Steel Mill Rising. They are on the rise. Love hearing them and can't wait to hear more.
And, of course, thanks to Rorick Honda, our podcast sponsor. There's no better time now to trade your car. You've been hearing us say that all for the last month. The trade-in is good for amazing new vehicles as well as certified and used cars. And no matter the car deal, you still get the Rorick advantage.
And the other advantage is at Rorick is that they have the parking lot of fun at Johnny Angel's Ginchy Stuff and Bicycle Heaven outside with entertainment and comedians. Check YaJagoff.com for more details, as well as Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs.
That's
Peace
it.
out, guys.
See yins.